Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Twitter, of course. And if you are a fan of Team Fortress, you probably already know Team Fortress has released a new kind of update. They call it the Love and War update. So what this video is going to be, it's going to be a little bit of a showcase, a little bit of a overview, a little bit of a quick overview, because I didn't get any of the new weapons yet. But it's going to be a little bit of a quick overview of what exactly changed. Some of the major changes. I will provide a link to probably the update page where you can watch more in depth what actually changed. So let's go ahead over in the shop here and check out some of the new things that have been added. There have been added 5 new weapons and 15 new taunts, which I think are all community made. And of course over like 40 cosmetic items, like heads and stuff, whatever. So the first weapon is called the airstrike. So what I assume is gives like an advantage when you are walking jumping. So I think this is going to be a good weapon in combination with the gunboat. You jump up in the air a lot, and then you should shoot down, because when you shoot down you have like an attack speed bonus, and when you kill someone you get an increase in clip size. So I think this weapon is aimed at rocket jumpers mainly, because it does have like a very big downside, which is 25% less damage, which is a lot. 25% clip size, which I assume is just like one rocket, and explosion radius minus 15, which isn't that much of a downside. But moving over to this weapon, the Beast Jumper. This is probably my favorite weapon in the updates, but I don't know what it does yet. What I think is when you rocket jump in the air, or you deploy this weapon and you slowly fall down, slowly descends, like. So if you can use your rocket launcher while doing this, I think this might be even a little bit overpowered, but very fun to use. I don't know yet what this is going to bring, but in my head I have like images of what you can do with this thing, and it's probably pretty ridiculous. So if you're on the air, you basically just press the jump key as it stands there, and you basically slowly fall towards the ground, I guess. Then the next weapon is like a new scattergun. Personally, I don't really like this, but what it says is like it mini-quits targets when you fire at their back or at close range. So you have to position yourself very much towards your enemy. You have to be more tactical about your positioning, and you can't just shoot them straight up, It has less clip size, it doesn't do random vertical hits, and it's less accurate. So, a very tactical weapon, I guess, this is. The next weapon is the new sniper rifle. I'm not sure what this fully does yet. I have to actually try this one out. But it says that charge and fire shots are independent of your zoom. So I'm not sure. So maybe if you zoom out, it skips your charge. I don't know yet. I have to experiment with this weapon. I'll probably let you know when I discover what this actually does. It's a very weird one. I still have to look this up, what it actually does. Maybe on the wiki page it says, or whatever. And then you have this new shield. So, minus 25 fire and explosive damage, which is less than the other ones, I think. But you get full turning control while charging, which is, I think, it is a little bit overpowered. And then when you kill someone while charging, you refill your charge meter. So what I've heard of this weapon, I've already heard some things about it, and it appears to be pretty overpowered. So I expect this to be nerfed pretty soon in the upcoming update. What happens with major content updates, it's always like an update very soon after, like a couple of days, which changes a lot of things that happened in the update. I expect this to be nerfed very soon as well, in one of those upcoming updates, small updates to correct some things, let's just say. And then you have like 15 new taunts added, which I think are all community made, as well as weapons are, I think. And some of these are just ridiculous. They are just great. They are very expensive though, especially this one. But this one is like a group down, the first group down, I think. Yeah, this one is really ridiculous. You basically just you can join others in, and you can just like dance the conga together. It's just a ridiculous new down. I really love this one. They are all pretty good. For example, this one, like the pyro is actually just blowing up like a little balloon unicorn. It's great. Yeah, I really suggest to check this out because lots of these new toys are very fun. And of course, the cosmetic items, like always, in every update. And by the way, I think this hat is actually the hat of tip of the hats, which I think all of the proceeds go to the charity, the One Step Camp charity, which I talked about in our recent Teen Codes video like 2 months ago, where I talked about gaming communities and whatever. I'll link it in the description probably. So I assume these proceeds go to charity, but I'm not certain. Just don't take my word for it. And also lots of different colors available for this orange, whatever it is. But yeah, these are some of the new things added to the updates, which are it's pretty crazy. They didn't add any new maps, I think, which is they were talking about a new map, but I think that's in the end of the line updates, which people have been talking about for months. Which I don't think this update is supposed to be that's update, the end of the line update. So I assume end of the line being in a couple of months or whatever. I'm not sure when exactly. But we see. Let's talk about the weapon changes. Actually, there have been some changes to some of the weapons. For example, the Hitman's Heatmaker. When when Hitman's Maker you have some headshots and you get some kills and assists, you gain focus, and that focus allows you to charge faster, and you can reload your weapon without unscoping, which is a good advantage. I think it allows you to fire much more rapidly, and it also charges faster, which allows you to do more damage in a shorter amount of time. So, but now instead of like when you gain focus, in your first shot that you fire sets off your focus. When you now reload, press your reload button, then it activates your focus. So you can choose when to activate it, which is a good advantage, I think. So it's a pretty significant buff. So you can hold on your focus when you see a couple of enemies approaching at the same time, instead of just like one guy you want to shoot. So another weapon, which I think is a significant change, is to the extinguisher or the poster plumber. It's actually the same. Where is the extinguisher? I don't have the extinguisher, but poster plumber is the same as the extinguisher. What it does now is when you hit them from behind, it still does full crits. But when you hit them up front, it does only a mini crit. Which again is like the same with the scattergun. You have to position yourself more, and I think this is a good enough, because it was a little bit overpowered. It was a little bit too good, and now it's like more in line with the other weapons. I think it's still good. Don't get me wrong, but you have to position yourself to do the full amount of damage. You have to be more tactical. I do hope that this doesn't mean that there are going to be more WM1 pyros, because this weapon has been loved a little bit, but let's see what happens, shall we? Another significant change has been with the heavy weapons guy, but it doesn't actually state on the weapon itself. Now there is like a build up. I have like 1 second of build up damage and accuracy. What I mean by that is you start off with less damage and accuracy, so you are not as effective the first second. But 1 second is a lot in TF2, don't get me wrong. And after that 1 second, you regain your normal damage and accuracy like you have always been doing, I guess. But it has actually to build up a little bit. So it's a little bit nerf to all the miniguns, but is it going to be noticeable? I think if you really pay attention to it, probably. It's only small nerf, I guess. The next major change, probably the last one, is going to be the demo sticky launcher, What it does now is that this item has a 2 seconds build up, which is a lot. So assume when you fire your stickies, it requires 2 full seconds to be there to be able to do the full damage. Which this is a change that I don't like, because it stimulates demos to be sticky trapping instead of being using this weapon actively in combat. And this, and especially in competitive, this was used a lot in actual combat. But then again, it stimulates you to use the grenade launcher more, I guess. So it's an up and down sides, as many things are. Anyways, this was a little bit. Oh wait, one more thing I have to actually talk about, and that's this. You have like a new taunt setup. You can equip multiple taunts in actually at once. What used to be the case is that in this place you had actually your taunts and you could only equip one at a time. Now you can equip 8, which is insane. But it does fit within the 15 new taunts that are available. So I've equipped my 2 only taunts I have here. The high 5 one. Let's go. And the director's vision, of course, which I got from editing replays, I guess. And when you press mouse 3, it brings up the in-game taunt menu where you can select your taunt, I guess. So, a significant update, a lot of changes, but I expect in the next few days to be adjusted. Some of the changes, of course, they always do that, I think. So, and again, when I get the weapons, I'll probably explain them more in depth, because now I didn't get the new weapons yet, so expect some videos on those new weapons where I talked about more in depth, and I've actually had a chance to test them more. So keep an eye for that. Thanks for watching, and take care, folks.